So good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. Welcome to another Sunday School. We're here today with Juergen Rossdeutscher, who's going to walk us through some preliminary kind of verbiage and a preliminary video for something called divorce care that he's been working with for about 15 years. So Juergen, thank you very much for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Sounds great. Guys, it's a pleasure having you here on board. And just to give you a little overview of divorce care, it may have been initiated through the church, but it actually basically gives you an assurance of respect, love, and empathy of what you're going through. It really goes through the entire spectrum, everything from what you're feeling, what you're going through personally, to what your finances should be looking like and what you should be doing there, what you should be doing exercise, what you should be doing if you're all of a sudden feeling depressed and all of a sudden suicidal, the aspects of loneliness. It goes through 13 weeks of this here, once a week. And it actually it's set up in such a way that you go to wherever, it may be a community center, maybe a church, and maybe a meeting place, whatever. It's even been done in homes. And you go to that specific center and you go through a quick intro, go around and see how people are doing and what aspects of things people are struggling with that week. And then you do a video and then you discuss what's in that video. One of the beautiful things about this is very secure. So they keep it open. Most of the groups keep it open for 1 or 2 sessions so people can join. But after that, it's closed. And so what gets talked about in that session stays in that session. So it's very protected that way. And it is men and women. And some of the videos, we want both sexes there to discuss how it's relevant to both and what both of them are going through. And then other ones, we actually partition women and men. So there's discussion on what's going on for the men, what's going on for the women. And since this was started more than 30 years ago, it has actually gone around the world, and we're about 26 different countries. It's been translated into that many different languages. And besides divorce care, we also have something called divorce care for children. It's called divorce care for kids, and it's actually for children that are going through the separation of their parents. And it helps the children process this, because children are a completely different aspect than adults who have the mechanics to deal with all these different emotions. And then we also have grief share. We even have a gambling addiction, change to change, which also helps there. So it's actually grown into something extremely large and beneficial, and it's helped thousands of people. The nice thing about it is it's free of charge. You can go to this here. The only cost is the book. And I believe the book is going for something like $26 now. And all it is it's a notebook like this here. And again, this is your notebook, and each divorce care session comes up with a variety of things that you can do in the session. So it gives you a place for notes and so forth. But then it also gives you between the sessions, so some homework if you want to do it. And if you're processing it, you can just go through all these different things that are in between the sessions, and you actually end up having a journal. My book is completely full, and I've looked back at it and seen where I was to where I've come to, and it's amazing, the transformation. And so again, you can take this as many times as you want, and that also is beneficial. I took it twice before I said, I want to lead this. And it's amazing how beneficial it was. So what we'll do now is we'll listen to the introductory video. This is actually the first session of the actual course. And then after that, we'll discuss and have any Q&A, any discussion after that. All right. So Gavin, if you want to start the video.
It was a devastating loss. Flames quickly consumed this family's home, leaving almost nothing behind. Clothing, furniture, pictures, and cherished family heirlooms are gone.
After a fire, families are forced to start over, to find a new place to call home. The loss causes them to have to rethink, what will life look like now?
Now, in a similar way, separation or divorce has upended your life. It's forced you to rethink your future.
We both know the devastating effects of divorce, but we also know what it is to pick up the pieces and rebuild after the loss of our marriages.
We both discovered a path that leads from healing to hope, and we'd like to help you discover that hope as well.
Hi, I'm Denise Hildreth Jones.
And I'm Steve Grissom. Welcome to Divorce Care.
Welcome to Divorce Care. Over the next 13 sessions, we'll be introducing you to top experts on divorce recovery. They'll share strategies and tips that will help you deal with problems like fear, depression, anger, loneliness, and financial loss. You'll also meet people just like you who'll tell their stories about how their marriages ended, stories of betrayal, abandonment, and abuse. Stories about co-parenting conflicts, adjusting to singlehood, and inspirational stories of resolve, self-discovery, and healing. Their stories will give you hope and help you discover how to heal from the pain of divorce. Our goals? We want to comfort and encourage you and give you the tools and insights you need to rebuild your life at a pace that's right for you. Your hosts for this series are Denise Hildreth Jones and Steve Grissom. Steve has been divorced and understands the intense emotions and complex issues you're facing. After going through his divorce, Steve founded Divorce Care with his second wife, Cheryl, who has also been divorced. Denise also went through divorce and was devastated by it. But through her journey of recovery, her heart that had been shut down due to fear and disappointment came back to life. Eventually, Denise founded Reclaiming Hearts Ministries, which provides Bible study resources and weekend intensives to help people grow spiritually. Your divorce care experience will consist of 3 essential components, all designed to help you recover from the devastation of divorce. Each of the 13 sessions will include a video like the one you're watching. After viewing the video session, you'll have a small group discussion about the information you've received. You'll also have the opportunity to share about the challenges you're facing in your life. We understand you might not feel comfortable talking about your divorce right away. That's pretty common. But we also know how helpful this can be in your recovery. So we hope you'll give it a try. Even if you don't want to share about your own experience, just hearing what others are going through can be encouraging. A third crucial component of your divorce care experience is your participant guide. To get the most out of this course, you need your own copy. And be sure to bring it each week. You'll need your participant guide to take notes from the videos using the outlines provided. This workbook also contains daily exercises that will help you address the many problems associated with separation and divorce. If you have questions about how to get your participant guide, speak to your group leader. And with that, we're ready to begin.
I didn't even tell my family that I had moved out. I didn't tell them for about 6 months.
With my first divorce, I actually felt embarrassed. Like, how could this happen to me?
When I lost my job, I'll never forget, we were sitting on the back porch and I was waiting for a call from HR, and it came, and my wife was sitting right next to me. And when I got the phone, I said, that's it. I've just lost my job. And that was her straw. She's like, that's it. I'm out.
He came to me and told me, Sally, I'm so unhappy. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to leave. And I remember saying to him, oh my gosh, I love you. What are you talking about?
I asked him if he was having an affair. And at that point, he was so offended. In fact, he said that. He said, I am just appalled that you would dare to accuse me of doing such a thing. I would never do that. You're crazy.
The main circumstance leading up to my divorce was infidelity on my part. My ex-wife pursued divorce. I really didn't want it. I thought it was something that we could work out. I was still willing to work on our marriage and try to hold things together. She was just kind of at that point where she was ready to end it.
I walked in on him in a inappropriate sexual situation, and my life kind of exploded right there in front of me.
The second divorce, I felt angry. Like, what am I doing wrong? Type feeling.
I was devastated. I was in disbelief. We grew up together as kids. We've known each other almost all our lives. So it was unbelievable. I couldn't accept it. I was in denial.
The third divorce, that was totally unexpected. I thought for sure that this was going to last. And it was like another firecracker, just boom, it blew up.
New Year's Day, I woke up and I remember vividly thinking, I'm going to be husband of the year. And so she comes down for coffee and I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you. She's like, okay, cool. I want to talk to you too. All right, well, you go first. And she's like, I don't love you anymore. I don't think I ever really loved you. I want a divorce. I'm like, huh.
He came home and just said, I found someone else. Did not see the signs, which was embarrassing, honestly, because people kept saying to me, didn't you know? Couldn't you have figured that out? And I didn't know, and I didn't figure it out. And so that was one of the hardest things, is feeling foolish.
I think I was mowing grass or something that afternoon. And so I mowed grass and then it got dark and she still hadn't come home. And so I sat down on the doorstep. It was dark. And she pulled up in the yard. She walked up in front of me. And she said, I'm leaving you. The movers are coming tomorrow morning and they're taking all my things. And when you get home tomorrow afternoon, all my stuff will be gone. She said, I didn't want you to know until I was gone. But that's what's going to happen.
We had drifted apart for a number of years. We didn't have a close relationship. It was basically two people sharing a house, is what it really was. We got into this argument in the pizza place, and I tried to diffuse it, but she escalated and escalated and escalated, and it ultimately resulted in her assaulting me. So we kind of had words subsequently at home, and I said, maybe I should move out. We reconnected after a few weeks of being apart and tried to figure out if there was a path forward for us. And she essentially said, there is no path forward. I want a divorce. It's not open for discussion or negotiation.
We moved to Florida, and I was homesick. I wanted to come back here where my church and friends and family were. And so one day he was very frustrated with his new job, and he said, okay, yeah, I want to go back. And he sent me here with all of my stuff and that I could carry in the car. He embraced me with love and like, I'm going to be coming up there, until you get us a place. I'll be flying up or driving up on the weekends. I came up and started looking for a place, started working, and I was in communication with him over the phone about places to live, and he just said,
one day out of the blue, just find you a place, find what you like for you. I'm not coming. And I was just like, what are you talking about? I just need time for myself. And I'm not coming. And I said, well, I'm coming back then, you know? And he just lost it and said, you can't come back. If you come back, I'm leaving. So I just felt like I didn't know what was going to happen to me at that point. So I had no resources or anything. So I just felt completely alone and abandoned.
Just like an unexpected house fire, divorce can send you into shock. It can paralyze you. You don't know what to do next or where to turn for help.
The shock and disorientation make perfect sense. Suddenly, life must be different, but you're still trying to figure out what the new normal is for you and your family. But let me assure you of this, finding a new normal takes time. All rebuilding efforts do.
And rebuilding your life requires careful planning. You need tools. You need people to help. And right now, we'd like to come along beside you and be a part of your personal support team and help you find the road to healing.
Divorce is a long journey. It's not just long, it's complicated. It's invasive. People get to know parts of your life that you didn't want them to know, and maybe you didn't even know until the divorce began to occur and to unravel. Divorce is disorienting. What are the rules? What is it that I'm supposed to say to people, to friends, to my children? How do I interact with my spouse? How do we be co-parents? Who am I now? How do I introduce myself? There are so many things that are disorienting.
There was financial struggles, there were emotional struggles. Here I was starting off in a new town, so I had no job, no family. I was living with people that I barely knew, friends of friends, and I had to start over. I was like, I didn't know what to do, and I so longed to make things right for my girl and do things right by her, but I was so messy inside. I don't know that I had the capability to even think through what that looked like.
When I realized that divorce was happening, I felt like I was falling and I wasn't sure where I was going to land.
I felt like a helium balloon that all of the air had been, and I was deflated. I was just on the ground.
I remember thinking clearly, I will never laugh again. My life is over.
Your emotions are going to be all over the place between sadness and anger and numbness. And those waves are going to come in and out like the ocean tide.
And so you'll find that you may go up, you may go down, and not just from week to week, but from day to day. That is normal. You have not lost your mind and you are not crazy.
There may be times that you're experiencing tremendous sadness. You may experience anger, rejection, disappointment, sometimes even despair, not knowing what the future holds.
I felt very isolated. I felt very alone. After I finished going through a long period of denial, fear was ruling me.
As you live with the emotional chaos that separation or divorce brings, you might be asking yourself, is this normal?
Denise, when I was separated, it was just a twilight zone. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to act. You see, divorce destroys your dreams, your hopes, and your plans. And it forces you to rethink who you were, who you are, and who you'd like to become.
When you're in the beginning stages of a divorce, and you feel like you're being asked to navigate terrain and you don't even know what direction north is and how to make progress, there's maybe a few first steps that I would recommend. One would be monitor your eating habits more than your emotions.
It's so important to make sure that when you're going through a divorce, that you're taking care of yourself, that you're taking care of your body. There are some key things that you have to do. Number one is making sure you're getting adequate nutrition.
Nutrition can be one of the first things to go. When people are having all sorts of feelings, one way they cope may be through stress eating, eating the wrong things that just feel good.
I am an emotional eater, and I always have been a binge eater. And at this point, I was so ashamed of myself as a failure and angry, and I had all these different emotions. I didn't understand them. I felt totally alone and isolated, and I found comfort in food. Carbs and junk food. It was my solace. It was my friend. It was my comfort. I didn't know where to go, and I turned to food, and I gained quite a bit of weight, which added to my depression and my frustration.
Keeping a food diary sometimes is enough for people to make dramatic changes when they realize what they are or are not putting into their bodies.
Your participant guide contains additional suggestions for healthy eating. We understand that taking care of yourself might not seem like a top priority right now, but Pastor Keith Battle explains why it is so important.
The people who depend upon you for support need you to be at your best self, the best version of you, in order to take good care of them. The first time I heard the security discussion on an airplane, I was offended by it. Because they say if you lose cabin pressure on the airplane, there'll be an oxygen mask that will drop down. But then they said, make sure you put your mask on before you help your children with theirs. I'm like, what kind of parent is that? It's a wise parent. Because if I'm suffocating, I can't help you.
We will have more to say about taking care of your physical health in future sessions. Another strategy that will help you rebuild your life after separation or divorce is to spend time with wise friends, people who will listen to your struggles and encourage you as you heal.
I think friends can help you process too, because sometimes when I was angry, it was really good to say, tell me if I'm crazy. Is this something I should be upset about? Is this something I shouldn't be? Because I think it's easy to lose perspective. I felt like I couldn't even trust my own opinion after my ex-husband left, especially right at the beginning. I felt, I don't know, up from down. Somebody needs to tell me, is this wise? Is this not wise? And I think it was helpful to use friends for that.
You can have circular reasoning and you just keep going around and around about how bad it is. But if you have someone else that's your friend, introduce new ideas on how they would handle it. Well, why don't you do this? Well, you could do that. That was really helpful because sometimes you tend to isolate and then you've got only your own thinking and it just is scary. That's why it's so important to keep your friends close to your side when you're going through any kind of crisis, but especially divorce, I would say.
Well, I have divorced guy friends at church, and some I never even knew they were divorced, but they shared their stories with me. And just by them sharing with me, it made me feel much more comfortable to talk about it and just to feel comfortable in myself that I went through it.
Having someone to talk to can be really valuable, but what do you look for in these friends?
You want friends who know how to be supportive without fixing things. Because a divorce situation isn't one where they're going to be able to come in and make everything better the way that they want to.
The right people in your life would be people that are going to let you be in some pain. They'll allow you to have hard days and bad days because there will be difficult days to come, but people that will love you and say, hey, we've been sitting in this
pit for a while now. Let's move in a different direction. They're not going to let you be a victim forever, so that's important too.
One or two, that's all you need. Close friends who you've learned over time, you can trust, who are safe, who will speak the truth to you in love and tell you if you're starting to get off track, but in a gentle, loving, kind way. And people who share your values and are wise, because they will affect the decisions you make and who you become 3 to 5 years from now. So that's really important.
As I got to know women, whether it was single moms doing life together or just having friends that we could talk life, it made all the difference in the world. So that was a huge gift to me in my single journey.
As you begin building friendships, keep in mind that you are emotionally vulnerable. So it's best to focus on building friendships with people of the same sex. That will help you focus on recovery and healing and help you avoid premature romantic relationships. We'll share more on this in our next session.
As valuable as friends can be in your recovery process, there may be times that what they have to offer simply won't seem to be enough. Fortunately, there is even more help available to you if you turn to God. He is the ultimate resource for rebuilding your life.
As a pastor, I have folks come to me who tell me that they just learned that they're going to receive a divorce. And it's sometimes a shock to them, certainly a shock to me, but it's an opportunity for us then to think about immediately going to the Lord together in prayer, being vulnerable, saying, my heart is overwhelmed. I didn't expect this. It hurts. I don't know what to do. And Lord, I'm asking you to give me wisdom. I'm asking you to give me strength. I'm asking you to give me direction as I think about what I should do next.
There are other potential sources of support to help you figure out what to do next.
I was very fortunate in that I had a lot of support. I had a great therapist. I had great pastoral support at my church. I had great parents that gave me support. I had wonderful friends that really walked the walk with me and, prayed for me when I couldn't pray. And divorce care is just in that same realm. It was pivotal because it was something that I did that nobody else could do for me.
We're so glad that you came to this session of Divorce Care. We hope by now you can see that you're not alone, that there are others facing similar struggles. You've taken an important first step toward rebuilding your life. And while it may not feel right now to you that you could recover or heal from your divorce, you can. And we're here to help you on the journey.
But we also know that for some of you, even making the decision to come to this group wasn't an easy one. And now you're thinking, I'm not sure I can come back for 12 sessions. That's totally fair. It's a big commitment. But as with any major transition in your life, it really is a gift to have a companion on the journey. And that's what Divorce Care gives you.
As you go through these various weeks of divorce care and you interact with the leaders, with the material, with the group members, little by little, you're going to be experiencing a healing process that is unique for each person. And the time that it takes to experience healing varies from person to person because each situation is unique.
I went through it. It helped me get through the very earliest moments of my separation. And then when I went through divorce, it gave me comfort to be with a group of people who have also gone through the same experience.
The people that I met and their willingness to be vulnerable and share their stories, there was no smoke and mirrors there. It was all real.
People come in tears and not wanting to be there and completely nervous to 12 weeks later having a little bit of a smile and a laugh. It was a place I was accepted and God still loved me.
It's like my faith brought me through, but at the same time, my faith was a little shaken too. Like I know there's a God and I believe in God and he takes care of me every day, but I was like, why me, God? You know, I feel like I did all the right things. Why me? Divorce care was actually beneficial and helped me to navigate those feelings.
And it really touches you. And that's what is needed at the time.
If 12 sessions still feels like too much for you, we'd like you to think in terms of the next 3 weeks. Just commit to 3 more sessions and then decide if this group is right for you.
In the next session of Divorce Care,
There's a million ways we can deaden the pain.
I did some things that I shouldn't have done.
The nights that I didn't have my son, I'd end up in a bar somewhere.
I drank half a bottle of rum because I wanted to not be present.
It became much worse for me when I blamed God.
I was begging God to restore the marriage. Couldn't understand why he wasn't doing it. You know, why, God, would you do this to me?
you have a lot to take in as you start this recovery process. Do your emotions feel like they're off the scale? Check out this week's On My Own exercises. You'll find out your feelings are more normal than you think and learn what to do with all those emotions.
Next, you'll join a discussion led by your divorce care group leaders. This will be a time to get to know your fellow group members and to talk about how to apply what you've heard on the video to your own situation. Now, we understand that you might not feel comfortable opening up about your divorce experience today, and that's okay. But do keep in mind that we've heard from divorce care group members again and again that these discussions can be incredibly helpful. So we hope you'll give it a try.
We've shared a lot with you today, and we realize all this information can be hard to process at once. So to help you sort through this information, we have a couple of additional resources for you.
The first resource is your participant guide. This book is filled with articles and exercises that build on what you've heard today. Be sure to spend some time in this valuable resource before next week's session. The second resource is the My Divorce Care website. Here you'll find videos from previous editions of Divorce Care and extended interview clips from the experts featured in this version, clips not seen in these videos. To learn more about My Divorce Care, visit divorcecare.org/my. That's divorcecare.org/my.
Thank you for joining us today. And again, take a risk and come back to the next session as we travel this journey to healing and recovery.
That's great.
Wow, guys.
Before I turn it back to Juergen, we'll stop the recording shortly. But I just wanted to, like, when Juergen and I were talking about doing this, I did a little bit of research, and there's a space on the Divorce Care website where you can put in your postal code, and it tells you kind of where the closest place is. I live in a small town north of Toronto called Barrie, and there were like 15 within 5 kilometers of where I live. So I think they're everywhere. With that, I'm going to stop the recording. Feel free to turn your cameras back on, and we'll go into the Q&A. Thanks very much.
Sounds good.